Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay.
Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay. I am your host, Mike Jokum. Joining me from Wayne Taylor Racing this morning is both Paul Sheehan and Keith Stein. Paul and Keith, how are we doing this morning?
Real good, thanks.
Doing great.
Awesome. Glad to hear. So before we dive into many racing topics, as we were kind of discussing before we started recording, we've all been under quarantine now for, I don't know, I've lost track of the days or weeks at this point, but have either of you guys come up with any new quarantine hobbies that are fun to talk about, even if it's just homework or yard work like I was mentioning, or anything crazier?
Well, you know, I feel guilty even saying this, but I actually have a house that I'm flipping, and so the time off of work allowed me to spend a great deal of time remodeling a house. So I took full advantage of the situation of the pandemic, and so I was really productive, but I was also really tired at the same time. So
yeah, I definitely understand that. So I have to ask, because we were talking about Netflix before, have either of you guys finished I don't know if I want to call it interesting or exciting, but let's call it interesting, documentary of Tiger King?
My girlfriend was watching it, and I stopped watching it after about 2 minutes.
It's probably,
I did not. It didn't seem interesting to me.
Yeah. It's more of like an accident you just can't look away from over and over again for 7 episodes.
Yeah. Paul, did you watch it?
No, I did not. I didn't even don't know much about him.
That's probably, honestly, Paul, I think that's the right way to approach if you're going to choose something on Netflix, it's just to pretend it's not there, because now that I watched all 7 episodes in 36 hours, probably like the first week in the quarantine, it's not something you're like super proud of. It's just happened.
You don't recommend it for me?
It's listen, if you and you know, it's okay to watch, because there's zero plot and there's zero, like, if you miss 10 minutes because you get distracted or you got to walk the dog or whatever, it's fine. You don't have to pay close attention to it. It kills a lot of time, but it's not something that I'm thinking about now, going like, wow, I really want to rewatch Tiger King again. And I see it pop up at the news, I just shake my head.
No, but I was able to watch both seasons of Drive to Survive, so that's good.
You're not the first person from Wayne Taylor to mention that, and I am embarrassed that I haven't gotten through season 2 yet. It's not like I haven't had enough free time in the evenings.
Season 2 is good. Oh yeah, it's good.
Do they have, because I haven't gotten to that, my favorite, or I don't know if favorite is the word, but the most intriguing thing to me would be the saga of Rich Energy and their social media. Is that discussed in season 2?
I think it is, yeah. I'm thinking more of the drama between Christian Horner and I can't even say his name, the team principal for Renault, and the Ricardo situation, and when they talked about taking Christian Horner's driver and and Christian was like, "We should have spent a little more money on your insurance." Just the whole drama and tension is just hysterical. So I think that's season 2. Now I can't remember, but season 1 or season 2, but it's hysterical. So
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to watch that this afternoon, or pick up on that this afternoon wherever I left off. So, talking a little bit of racing here. Start with you, Paul. You worked in the IndyCar world for teams like Dick Simon, Walker Racing, Kelly Racing, Panther Racing, and Rahal. So after 20 years, you made your transition to sports car racing and Wayne Taylor. So first, what was that your time in IndyCar like, and maybe some of your bigger career accomplishments? And 2, what led you to kind of switching racing gears and moving over to the sports car side of things?
Well, the IndyCar career it's pretty good for me. I got to do a lot of stuff I dreamed about doing as a kid, driving the race haulers and going to races, and then actually after I got into racing a little bit, it kind of moved up, and I got to do pit stops for different teams and just meet a lot of great people. And then probably the best thing I remember is when I was at Panther Racing, we never won the Indy 500, but we finished second 4 years in a row, and that was a pretty good thing to be part of.
I like it there. So what led you then to Wayne Taylor Racing?
As you know, the IndyCar schedule is it's pretty compact, and it keeps the teams and personnel very busy. Sports car was kind of a little bit more lax, and I don't want to say lax, but it's more spread out. So me and my wife, we had just had a daughter, so it gave me the opportunity to be home just a little bit more than versus being on the IndyCar team. And it got me to be, it wasn't really a more rush schedule versus the sports car schedule.
I definitely understand that. As somebody who does a lot of traveling for it, it does, looking at the calendar every year, does make me a little tired. So Keith, same thing for you. Your motorsports background is really interesting. Just kind of reading your bio here. You started, it looks like, in the NASCAR world after going back to school for 13, or after being in insurance for 13 years. So how did you go from there to NASCAR to NHRA and IndyCar and now Wayne Taylor?
Well, I did the typical college route, and went out, got a business degree, and then went into the world of business and worked for 13 years, as you said, for an insurance company in Chicago. That was a great position and made decent money, and just always had a passion for motorsports. And at some point in my life, I realized that, hey, there's business people in racing, so why not try and combine the two? And so I went back to school at Indiana State University for a motorsports management minor, more so hoping that with a new program, they would be promoting it and networking would be a key, and ended up teaming up with a gentleman named Mark Chambers, who was an alumni of Indiana State, and he happened to be the general manager for Bill Davis Racing. And initially, we were talking about developing a internship program for some of the students, and when a sponsorship issue happened with Bill Davis Racing, they weren't able to basically do a paid position, but they were still willing to do an internship, just wouldn't be paid. And I presented that to a lot of the students, and unfortunately, they really didn't embrace that concept. They wanted to be paid, and I tried to, explain that there's no substitute for experience, especially with a top level race team. And they weren't buying it, and I finished the program, and I sort of stayed in contact with Mark, and I said, hey, you talked about an unpaid program. Would you mind if I came down and worked for you guys for free? And he said, sure, come on down. And so that's really how my motorsports career took off. And I went down there for 6 months and really didn't get paid. I did do a few side jobs, some show car stuff, and that's probably the beginning of my driving career, if you will. And so I worked there for 6 months, and then through my show car endeavors, I got hooked up with the gentleman at Schumacher Racing, and that's how I ended up working at Schumacher Racing for 4 years. And different things happened. I went to IndyCar for a couple of years, and now here I'm in sports car racing. So
I like it. I also would have worked for any motorsports team for free when I was coming out of college, because I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do, even when I graduated. So some might say I just figured that out maybe about 6 months ago, and I am 33 now. So yeah, it took me a little bit of time, but anyway, so I am going to go slightly. Let's see here. I'm looking at my list of questions. With the kind of everything going on in the schedule being unique this year, and there is a second race at both Daytona, which is probably, I think, just a little bit over a month out now, and then Sebring right after that, a mini Sebring. What are your guys' thoughts on the 2020 schedule? I know a lot of drivers love that they're going to Sebring a second time, but some of the crews and people who are working behind the scenes maybe aren't as excited for such a difficult track like Sebring.
Well, all you got to say is Sebring in July, and everybody will probably know what you're talking about. So it's going to be hot and muggy and humid, but it's only 2.5 hours, so
that's a good thing.
Good for us.
Well, my role here has sort of changed, and so I don't typically go to all the races anymore. I'm more of an office-based person now. So for me, I'm excited that there's racing, and that I don't have to necessarily go. So that makes me very happy.
Yeah, not having to go to Florida in July is like, God, where was the one track I was at last year that you walked outside and started melting? I think it was Iowa, where it was like 112 degrees during the day. For when the IndyCar race ended up being run at like 2 a.m. after the storm. That was, I do not do well in the hot weather. So unfortunately I won't be there, because I think that coincides with an IndyCar weekend, but I would love to get down to Sebring hopefully in November. So you guys won the 24 hours of Daytona back in January. How awesome is it to be part of such a prestigious win?
Well, it's phenomenal. I mean, we've won 3 of the last 4, and to be with, some top level drivers, just a top level organization is really exciting. But to think that, someone like Fernando Alonso and Jeff Gordon, both icons in their respective disciplines, would, want to come over here and partake in one of the greatest events in racing. So it's just really exciting. I mean, Wayne Taylor's built a great organization, and there's a lot of great people here. And so it makes it worthwhile when you work those 24 hours and you're sleep deprived and hungry and tired and cranky, and yet you're still vying for a win. So it just makes the day more pleasant, if you will.
And same question for Paul.
Yeah, Keith said it very good. Just very exciting to be part of a great organization and be around some real famous drivers, real talented drivers, and it's just doing them kind of hours. It makes it worth it when we come out with a win.
I love it. So I'll wrap it up here with just 2 final questions. One non-racing and one racing. Let's see, which order do I want to go? I'll start with the non-racing. I'm going to put both you guys on the spot here. So it doesn't matter which order, but if you had to pick 3 guests to bring to a dinner party, they don't necessarily have to be racing. Who would they be, and why would you pick them? And we'll start with Paul on this one.
3, yeah.
I realized he was actually pointing at me to go first on that one. So
see, I didn't even know that, and we can start in whatever order if you need some time to think.
He's ready to go. He'll go.
So I would say if I was going to pick 3 guests, I would pick Michael Jordan. I would pick Michael Andretti and Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, I like it. That's a really fun 3 there. That's actually the first time I've heard Michael Jordan as an answer, and I think that would be really interesting to hear his take on competition and everything. So, all right, Paul, you've had about a minute to to come up with some answers. So now we're going to put you on the spot.
I guess first I'd probably have to take my wife because I've been around her for almost 90 days straight. I'm sure she hasn't got enough of me yet. So then I would probably take, man, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
Take me, Paul, take me.
Keith wants to go with me, but no, I don't think so. Maybe get Bud Grant in there, ex-coach, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. He would be good.
I like it.
One more, Paul.
Pressure's on.
What's your favorite athlete?
Okay.
Brett Favre?
Yeah, he'd be a good one. I'd take Brett Favre with me, too.
I think that was just Keith part 2, but we'll give that one to Paul. That was Brett Favre would definitely be a good one there. I think we have some big Packers fans and Vikings fans who listen to the show.
Purple days, though. Just in his purple days, though.
Yeah, that's we will say, what was that, his last couple of years in the league after his strange year with the Jets?
Yes.
I mean, every year is a strange year when you're on the Jets, I guess. So I won't go down. I won't make fun of them too much. I honestly don't know if we have any Jets fans that listen. And if we do, I'm sorry for making fun of them. It's just really easy. So we'll wrap it up with one easier question here. You guys have both worked with Wayne Taylor and Wayne Taylor Racing for a couple of years now. So what is Wayne Taylor like as a man, and what is it like working for Wayne Taylor Racing?
Well, Wayne's a very nice man. Very genuine, but he's, he's great to work for. He gives us everything that we need to be successful. He cares about us as individuals, as employees. So we make sure that we have good benefits, and that, especially during this pandemic when you heard a lot of teams being laid off or furloughed, we were able to continue as if we were still working. So it's a blessing that we work for such a great man, and again, giving us all the tools and opportunities we need to be successful here. And so, working for Wayne Taylor versus Wayne Taylor Racing, it's kind of the same thing. When you speak of one, you're really speaking of the other. So it's just great. No regrets here, and just happy to be here.
I love it. Any additional thoughts on that one, Paul?
Keith said it very good. Took the words right out of my mouth. Wayne's a great guy to work for. He's got a great team and business going here, and just proud to be part of it.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate the time this morning. It's been a treat to talk to you both. First thing this morning here, so thank you very much. Stay safe, and whenever you guys are back at the track, I hope it is a very successful season. And whenever I am able to get to the IMSA races, I will make sure to come say hello and introduce myself. So I hope you both have a good rest of your day, and thanks again.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks a lot, guys.